Snow drifted across the narrow New Hampshire road as headlights cut through the early evening haze. It was February 2004 when Maura Murray vanished after her car was found, crashed along a rural stretch near the White Mountains. The air was sharp, the kind that muffles sound and makes every movement deliberate. Tire tracks curved into a small embankment, and the scent of antifreeze lingered faintly in the cold. A single vehicle, a dark Saturn sedan, sat askew with its front end damaged. Inside, airbags hung deflated, and a cracked windshield reflected the flashing lights of passing vehicles. The scene felt frozen in time. No footprints leading away, no sign of struggle, only the quiet hum of wind through the trees. Earlier that day, Maura had left her university campus, telling professors she'd be gone for a week due to a family emergency. She packed clothes, toiletries, and printed directions to a location in northern New England. Surveillance footage later showed her withdrawing cash and purchasing alcohol, small details that would later fuel countless theories. By the time her car was discovered, she was nowhere to be found. The temperature hovered below freezing, and darkness was closing in fast. A local resident who heard the crash called authorities, unaware that this moment would mark the beginning of one of the most perplexing missing person cases in modern American history. The quiet of that winter night concealed more than it revealed, and what began as a routine roadside incident would soon unravel into a mystery that still endures. When first responders arrived, they found the vehicle locked and the road nearly deserted. The snow along the shoulder had been disturbed only by the car's skid marks and a few scattered belongings. A box of wine lay partially open on the back seat, and a rag was stuffed into the tailpipe, an odd detail that drew immediate attention. The responding officer noted that the driver was gone, but the engine was cold, suggesting she had left some time earlier. Flashlights swept across the tree line, beams catching on ice-crusted branches and the reflective tape of road signs. Neighbors who had seen the car moments after the crash described a young woman appearing uninjured but seemingly disoriented. By the time law enforcement canvassed the area, she had vanished into the darkness. Officers radioed for backup, and within minutes, cruisers lined the narrow road, their lights painting the snow in red and blue. Searchers called her name into the woods, their voices fading into the wind. Footprints were difficult to trace. The snow had hardened, and new flakes were falling. The night deepened, and the temperature dropped further, complicating any chance of tracking scent. A K9 unit was deployed, the dog straining against its lead before losing the trail a short distance from the crash site. The search perimeter expanded to nearby homes and outbuildings, but no one reported seeing anyone walking along the road. What began as a traffic call was quickly reclassified as a missing person case. The uncertainty settled heavily over the scene, and officers worked methodically, marking tire impressions, photographing the vehicle, and logging every item into evidence before towing it for examination. In the days that followed, the investigation widened dramatically. State police coordinated with local departments, setting up command posts in community centers and fire halls. Volunteers arrived with maps, radios, and thermal gear, forming search grids that extended across miles of wooded terrain. Helicopters scanned the area using infrared sensors, while ground teams moved slowly through snowfields and along frozen streams. Investigators interviewed residents, reviewing each sighting and phone call. Maura's family traveled to the region, distributing flyers and speaking with media outlets in hopes of generating leads. The small towns nearby became hubs of activity, coffee shops filled with reporters, bulletin boards covered in missing posters, and residents discussing theories over breakfast counters. Forensic technicians examined the Saturn for fingerprints, fibers, and biological traces, though the cold had preserved little. The car's contents were cataloged: maps, personal items, and the alcohol purchase receipts. Investigators traced her cell phone records and computer searches, noting that she had looked up directions to lodging in the area. Every detail was logged, cross-referenced, and filed, yet no clear path emerged. Searchers combed through drainage ditches, barns, and abandoned cabins, marking each cleared location with fluorescent tape. The community organized candlelight vigils, their flickering lights reflecting off snowbanks as people stood in silence. Despite the extensive effort, no solid evidence surfaced. Each passing day deepened the mystery, and the case file grew thicker with reports, interviews, and maps annotated with red ink. The sense of urgency never faded, but the trail remained cold. As weeks turned to months, investigators pursued every possible lead. Tips arrived from across the country, many contradictory, some implausible. Law enforcement reviewed surveillance footage from nearby towns, checked bus stations, and contacted hospitals, but no match was found. Online forums began dissecting the case, analyzing timelines and speculating about motives, while television programs brought national attention to the disappearance. Detectives revisited the crash site repeatedly, walking the same stretch of road, hoping a thaw might reveal overlooked evidence. They interviewed friends, classmates, and family members, piecing together her final days. Some theories suggested voluntary disappearance. Others pointed toward foul play. Yet no definitive proof supported any single explanation. The car's mechanical condition was re-examined, and the rag in the tailpipe was tested for residue, though results were inconclusive. Investigators also considered the possibility of an abduction, but there were no signs of struggle or witnesses to a second vehicle. The case became a study in contradictions, visible clues that led nowhere, timelines that almost fit but never quite aligned. Over time, new technologies such as improved DNA analysis and digital forensics were applied to the evidence, but nothing shifted the core uncertainty. The file remained open, and detectives rotated in and out, each bringing fresh eyes, yet encountering the same impasse. Media coverage ebbed and flowed, but the public fascination endured, sustained by the haunting absence of resolution. The investigation's persistence reflected both professional duty and the enduring hope of those who refused to let the case fade into memory. Years later, the disappearance continues to resonate deeply with those who followed it from the beginning. The road where the crash occurred has changed little, quiet, lined with trees that whisper in the wind. Memorial ribbons still appear on guardrails, placed by strangers who never met her, but feel connected through the mystery. The family continues to seek answers, working with private investigators and maintaining public awareness through interviews and online outreach. Law enforcement periodically revisits the evidence, applying updated techniques to old samples, scanning databases for any match that might finally close the loop. The case has become a touchstone in discussions about missing persons investigations, highlighting the challenges of rural searches, limited early resources, and the enduring impact on loved ones. For many, it represents the intersection of hope and uncertainty, where every new lead carries both promise and the risk of disappointment. The community that once searched the snowy woods still remembers those nights of flashlights and radio chatter, the sound of boots crunching over ice, the quiet after each call went unanswered. Over time, the story has become part of local memory, retold with care and caution. What remains is a portrait of persistence, of investigators, volunteers, and a family unwilling to stop looking. The unanswered questions linger like the winter air that first night, cold, still, and heavy with possibility.